Hello, gorgeous soul. Welcome to Susie's Enchanted Crossroads. I'm Suzie, and this podcast helps you navigate your journey through the crossroads by taking a deeper look into witchcraft and spirituality. So settle in, grab your beverage of choice, and let's get this episode started. Hello, wonderful listeners. I'm Suzie, and welcome to Susie's Enchanted Crossroads. I cannot tell you how excited I am to have you listening to my episode right now. I have been so ready and gearing to go, and I'm so grateful for the journey. I really, really am. At some points, it was rough. It really was, as all of our journeys are, right? But here I am, and here you are. And I just wanted to say thank you, first off. I have been wanting to do this for such a long time. And if you get anything out of this first episode is me telling you to go and do the thing. Go do the thing. If you've been thinking about it, you're on the fence about it. If you are standing at the crossroads and you have been there for a while, you're doing yourself a disservice by just standing there. Standing at the crossroads is staying in your comfort zone, which is the whole reason why I wanted to create this podcast. Staying in our comfort zone is obviously comfortable, but it keeps you stagnant. And even if you're telling me, well, no, Suzie, I'm fucking miserable here. Yeah, you probably are. But if you're used to that misery, seeking out change, even though you know it's going to be for your betterment, is hard. And some of you are probably thinking, no. If I want to not feel this way. I want to have people be respecting me, not wiping their feet on me like a mat. However, if that was truly the case, you would be speaking up to that. But something holds you back. Something keeps you at the crossroads between a rock and a hard place, so to speak. So, man, I just dove right in there, huh? Didn't even dip the toes, nothing. Here we are. So, Susie's Enchanted Crossroads. Who am I? Who's this person that is filling the airwaves right now? So I'm Suzie. I am an eclectic witch. So what does that mean? Well, I dabble in about just everything. So, and don't worry, I will get to all of that in later episodes. What even is a witch? Are you a witch? Maybe your neighbor's a witch. And we just be witching every which way. But that's me. I'm into herbal medicine. I do Reiki. I create oils and candles. I do kitchen witchery. I love the freaking moon. Who doesn't? All sorts of things. So that makes me an eclectic witch. I love to read tarot. I have a bunch of decks, but I have one deck specifically right here in front of me for this podcast. And all around, I want to create a safe space for all the gorgeous souls listening right now. All of you out there. The safe space to listen to what I'm telling you, to maybe a guest I invite on the podcast is telling you, to be curious about it and to do further research about it, to question, to really dive deep into rabbit holes and get lost and maybe find yourself. I want to create a space where if you have a question, you can shoot me an email at Susie's Enchanted Crossroads at gmail.com or shoot me a DM at Susie's Enchanted Crossroads on the socials. And know that you're gonna not be judged. Know that I'm gonna hold space for you. I love learning. I will always be a student, as I am a teacher. But this podcast is to invite the curiosity, to have a good time, to have some laughs, even cry together and discuss what I feel are interesting topics. And I even am ready to expand my mind on topics that maybe I didn't even think about. And you send me those ideas or questions. Love podcasting because one, it's free. I mean, can't beat that, right? You can listen at your leisure and have a good time. It's amazing the power of technology sometimes. Not always, my friend. We'll get into that later. So, but at any which way you look at it, I'm excited. I've got butterflies in my stomach. So, you may or may not know me from a previous podcast called Hocus Pocus, Let's Focus, where I was actually a host with my great friend Dee. Oh my goodness, that really just set me on my path of how much I freaking love doing this work. Dee and I had a bunch of laughs. Oh my gosh, the rabbit holes we would go down. And it's still up. I mean, I invite you to go listen to Hocus Pocus Let's Focus. It's available wherever you listen to your podcasts. And oh, it was just amazing. Just so amazing. Um, Dee really opened up my eyes to the possibilities and reaching out and not being scared of trying something new. One thing about me in the past was that, I always thought like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. And I would get myself psyched up, ready to go, and then all of a sudden, I backtrack. And the backtrack was the fear of the unknown and keeping it in my own narrative that I am so novice that how can I be doing something like this? Like, who wants to hear from me? Like, who am I really? How am I going to tackle uploading episodes and doing all these things? And in taking that leap of faith with a good friend, I was like, we should all, well, with some caveats, right? But we should all be out here trying all the new things, if it's podcasting, what have you. But Hocus Pocus, Let's Focus really just set me to the ground, running or on my broomstick flying. It was so much fun. If you're wondering, well, what happened? Nothing really happened. It's really hard to podcast, honestly, especially if you're sharing the space, and especially when the space is two witchy friends embarking on their own business and balancing mundane jobs and trying to juggle on in their life. It was starting to become difficult for us to align our schedules together. And that's basically it. We did not want to do a disservice to our listeners and, you know, record here willy-nilly there and, be exhausted, because that's not the type of energy that either of us wanted for our podcast. So I just, I do want to invite y'all to listen. So, at any rate, here I am. I just wanted to say hello. If any of the past audience is here, welcome. Thank you for continuing to follow me and support me. I just feel like this is something I have to continue doing. This is my calling. I have to go with it. I want to talk to you all. I want to bring on guests. I want to, do the tarot readings for the collective. I want to learn and hear and connect with you. This is where I thrive. This is where I'm just pumped and freaking energized, if you can't tell in my voice. Oh, okay. So that's a little bit about me. And what is up with the Enchanted Crossroads? Well, as I started, saying earlier, right? As I just dived on in, I was stuck at a crossroads in a time of my life where I didn't know where to turn to and I didn't know who to really speak to about it. I'm a Virgo, Virgo sun right here. And a lot of it was me used to doing things on my own. And I'll dip into this later in more depth, but really not reaching out. But when I had questions, or, what ended up happening was my Saturn return and just seeing the world and my life through a different lens. Holy smokes, I felt at a loss. I really did. My inner self was not feeling comfortable with my outer self, with what I was showing to people. Even like the circle of people who were around me. I felt that the people around me didn't really know me. They knew um, the facade that I would put. And I was confused by it. Really, really was. And when I started to step out and really observe my life, something just wasn't right. And I couldn't put my finger on it. You know, when you know something, but you're like, but what does this mean? What is it? Is it because I'm a year older? Am I just tired of this and taking advantage of, people taking advantage of me? Is it my job? What is it? You try to pinpoint these little things. And then people, of course, give you their advice and they're trying to be helpful. But it wasn't that, I needed to fill the hole with what people normally do, right? Getting into a relationship or thinking the next step is automatically marriage or, hey, well, I guess if I'm feeling this way, it's probably because we need to have some kids. That wasn't any of it. What I was experiencing was that something was missing, but I was getting pulled somewhere. Have you felt that? Have you ever felt that way? Or maybe you're currently feeling that way. You're just feeling this pull somewhere and you're just like, but where? And then I started going back to my freaking roots, y'all. I started going back to questioning things. I started going back to, and this is going to sound so silly, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to start going back to listening to my horoscope. And this was before TikTok, by the way. Pre-pandemic, pre-TikTok. And going back, I was like, oh yeah, my sun sign. Going a little deeper, oh, my rising sign, my moon sign. Oh, I have this planet here in this house, and this is how I manage my money, and this is how I view family and relationships. Huh. And then a friend in passing was telling me about a Reiki session that she had in a reading with a friend of hers, and I was like, what is that? Tell me more. And it was just a passing conversation and it just grabbed me. It took a hold on me like you wouldn't believe. And I was at a point in my life where I was already like done with things. So I was like, fuck it. Let's go. I'm down. Almost like, what have I got to lose? You know what I mean? And I went for it. And fast forward today, I'm managing my small business. I do readings for my clients. I am in the middle of getting Reiki 3 certified, and I do energy healings and energy workings. I got into herbalism, and I know when I'm feeling like crap, which herbs and flowers I can put together to make a tea to make me feel better. Knowing how to ground myself, learning about the moon cycles and coinciding with my cycles, creating candle magic and candle workings and spells, creating a safe space, not just for myself, but for my family and my friends, going down rabbit holes and just reading and researching on deities and folklore. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you, that one small step you take can open up so many doors for you. And that's what Enchanted Crossroads is all about. Enchanted Crossroads is realizing that, yeah, you're at a crossroads. If you go this way, it can mean these things. But if you go this way, it can mean something else, but a completely different way might turn your whole world upside down. But you're staying stuck because, oof, what if I go left and it's the wrong choice? Or if I go right, I go broke, but I'm happy. I just have to start from scratch. Am I ready for that? So it's easier for us just to stay still. It's easier just to continue to wring our hands and look back and forth and continue to weigh out, right? In quotes, weigh out the options, the good and the bad. But what ends up happening is that you stand there so long, you start collecting dirt. All these little dust bunnies are going to start forming on you. And then it gets a little bit harder. So, no shame that you're at the crossroads. Oh, no, that's not what we're doing here. The first step is recognizing that you're at the crossroads. And then the next step is, okay, what's something I can do differently? And I'm telling you, just a step is all it takes. But hey, if you want to run and just be like, I'm going and just boom, beeline towards a towards a path, you go for it. But for the most part, if you've been stuck for a while, sometimes all you got to tell yourself is the step I'm going to take is actually asking for support, maybe. Raise your hand out there if you like to do things all by yourself. Because it's easier, right? It's easier, like we tell ourselves it's just easier. I know how to get things done. I know what I like. I know like the time stamp and the time, blah, 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 these things. It doesn't matter that on my plate I can't fit anymore. There's like at least a little centimeter right there. I could just put one more thing right there. The problem with overloading a plate is that when you're trying to manifest your abundance or an intention, well, there's no space. How can the universe give you something that you really want if you're not making space for it? It's like you're planting the seeds in your garden, but you're allowing the weeds to take over, like the invasive ones. And then you wonder why what you planted isn't growing to its full potential. It's there, but if it can't see the sunlight, how can it continue to grow? You got to make space. So that's what this podcast is about. Helping you, guiding you, looking at things from a spiritual standpoint. Who says that you can't go out there and pick up an oracle deck and do some readings for yourself? We'll get into that. Who's telling you that you're too old to start learning about herbalism? Because that's silly. You're never too old. So I want to keep you curious. I really do. That is what this whole podcast is about. Um, I do intend on having some guests come on and share their expertise because I'm no expert. Let me say this right now. I'm no medical expert. I'm no expert. Okay. So all of that, even though we're talking about, witchcraft, spirituality, mundane, over magic, all day, every day. And I love to bring in people where they do have a, a specialty and it's their expertise and bringing them on to continue to teach us all. That's amazing. Um, and just like I said in my intro, besides helping you navigate your journey through the crossroads, bringing other people on is taking a deeper look into witchcraft and spirituality. I know it has a stigma. I know since TikTok, witchcraft is all the craze right now. And you know what? Honestly, I know some people don't like it, but I'm all for it. Like, finally, like, come on, let's get the word out there. We are all healers. That's all we're saying. You are a healer, whether you want to believe it or not. You really are. It's just probably untapped. And as you listen to this podcast, I do want you to settle in. Like, get comfy, get cozy if you're driving to work or driving anywhere, right? Traveling, I shouldn't even just say driving. If you're traveling anywhere, to get real comfortable so that you can kind of absorb everything that you're listening to. Maybe pop a question here or there to me or to any of our guests. And then I said grab your beverage of choice because I don't know about you, but I love, if I love warm, hot drinks, right? Coffee, a tea, hot cocoa. If it's a hot summer day, ooh, some refreshing, like maybe some lemonade. Even water slaps. Some good old-fashioned water, just, when it just tastes so good, whatever it is that you're doing. Um, I want you to get comfortable. I want you to get settled in. I want us to have a conversation as if I'm right in front of you. That's what this whole podcast is about. So there's my little intro on who I am, what the podcast is about, the title, so and so. And just to finish off this intro, I am actually going to pull a card for the collective. And let's see where this journey takes us. Currently, right now, I'm staring out my window. It's a beautiful day. It had been so windy, and not even the good wind, the wind that like throws around the dirt. Terrible. Rustling up these allergies. And I'm going to go over that in a bit because of the day that I'm actually setting myself to record. As I pull a card for the collective. So, take a deep breath in. Exhale it out. These readings are always for your highest good and your highest vibration. Card for the collective as we embark on this new journey together. Let's see. Little ASMR for you. Let's see. Hard for the collective as we embark this journey together. Ooh. Oh. I love it. Okay, so here we go. Before I tell you the cards, let me keep you on the edge of your seat just a touch. Just a little bit. Don't worry. Currently, I am recording. It is March 10th, 2024. Today is the new moon in Pisces. In a few days, it is going to be spring. And the way I'm so excited for this, you really have no idea because I am coming out of a point where I was just mentally exhausted, you guys. Just have you ever just been so mentally tired? You're mentally tired, you're struggling, and it's not so much that you're fatigued, it's really the mental drain of the planning or having to do whatever it is that needed to be done, right? The mental capacity was just it was rough. I'm not gonna lie. It was rough. So I reached out to a friend of mine, and I will give her more kudos in a later episode here because if not, I'm going to go on an hour-long tangent. But I reached out to a friend of mine, and I said, you know what? That's it. I'm ready. I want to start this podcast. What is going on between my birth chart and what's going on in the world cosmically? And they really broke everything down. And the way that I saw all of things coming together, I settled on the date on which I was going to record and the date that this pod officially drops. And I will discuss this in a later episode. The reason I bring it up is because I have just this energy now coming out of winter and into spring, which is coming up in a few days. And this is where I was like, yes. Yes, the pollen's coming out and our allergies are probably going to be a mess. I understand it. However, things are starting to blossom and expand, and you just see life waking up. And that's how I feel about this podcast. So, new moon energy. We all know the new moon is about actually taking the steps to do the dang thing you are setting out to do. Here's the plan and how you're going to execute, and let's go. No more excuses. This is how it's going to go. Spring is afoot. And I was like, yeah, everything aligns for a reason. And I didn't put it on myself to hurry up and do it. I gave myself the chance to breathe and allow things to come together. And it didn't feel forced. So here we go with this reading. Here we go. 10 of Wands and the Devil in reverse. So before everybody freaks out, this is nothing evil, okay? Don't freak out. This is our journey together with this podcast. This is your journey as you are navigating through the crossroads. The devil in reverse is release. It is freedom from whatever was keeping you locked down. Okay, whatever was keeping you chained. You are on the cusp of a breakthrough, liberation, if you will. Okay, you are realizing that you are giving away your power, and it is time to break the chains and recall that power. If this isn't describe me and what I do for my clients in a nutshell, I don't know what does. Like, I am freaking stoked about this. Also, for context, I'm using the Light Seers Tarot. Not sponsored in any way, by the way. So, our journey together with this podcast, you and I, gorgeous soul, is to start liberating yourself. How beautiful is that? Liberating yourself and recalling that power. And if you don't know how to do that, don't worry, I've got you. I really, really do. And with this 10 of Wands energy, you're taking too much on. Okay. This is an opportunity. This is a call to free yourself from heavy burdens, obligations. You need to start prioritizing what is important and what you can start taking off your back. Because at least in this spread, in this particular artwork in the card, it's that feeling of heaviness on you. Think of a heavy backpack. It's like, oh, can you hold this for me? Sure. Let me put it in my backpack. Oh, can you also hold this for me? Sure. Let me put this in my backpack. And all of a sudden, you're carrying everybody's shit on your shoulders. It's time to take the backpack off, and it's time to start unloading what is not yours to carry. How beautiful is that for our journey together? And I misspoke. Sorry, this is not the Light Seers Tarot. I'm actually using the Red Fairy Tarot, also not sponsored. I was looking at my own spread and it was a Light Seers Tarot. I've got a lot of decks, and we'll get into that also. So a beautiful message here. Seriously, I love these cards together for us. I love to see that we are both embarking on this journey to to break the chains on what's holding us down or what's holding us back, whether it be society, whether it be people in your circle, or maybe it's even your own narrative. Sometimes we got to look within ourselves too. And we got to start releasing what is no longer serving us, holding on to things that are draining. Oh, I love it. This was a great first episode. If I do say so myself, I hope to hear from you. Let me tell you all the ways you can get a hold of me. Susie's Enchanted Crossroads, anywhere and everywhere. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. You can really access a lot of my business on my Instagram. I'm also on Gemmy, that's my website, Susie's Enchanted Crossroads. If this resonated with you, if you feel like you would like a personal reading or you want to get an energy session going on, you can book with me. You can find all of my links on Instagram, or I'm going to also have everything here in the show notes. Isn't that fun to say? You just scroll on down and see all the links in the show notes. I'm still giddy about this. So, yeah, shoot me an email even. Susie's Enchanted Crossroads at gmail.com. I try to make everything super easy, super duper easy. And to all of my listeners and followers, I know that by the time you're listening to this, we would have had our candle ritual spell, and I was Dance Tarot Witch. And this is where I'm telling you, you can start over as many times as you need. And I've been Dance Tarot Witch for a long time. And I love where Dance Tarot Witch held me when I needed to be held. You know what I mean? That was who I was. That's where I started becoming more aware of my spirituality and what I wanted. But now that I'm moving forward in my journey, Dance Tarot Witch wasn't fitting the same. I was growing, and I outgrew that name. So moving from Dance Tarot Witch into Susie's Enchanted Crossroads. And hopefully I'll be on this journey for quite a while, and it just feels more aligned. So let me know where maybe you're needing to expand. Let me know what things are burdening you and that you feel like you need to take some weight off your shoulders. How do you feel about this reading? Let me know. Are there things that you're curious about? Tell me. I'm excited. I want to answer the questions. And I'm just stoked to make that step in my own journey and that you're part of it with me. All right, gorgeous souls. I hope to hear from you soon. And until next time, I'll see you at the crossroads.